You want to know who feels a recession first? Restaurants. Not Wall Street, not the news, restaurants. Because the second people get nervous about money, they stop going out to eat. First it's appetizers, then desserts, then alcohol. Then suddenly people are sharing meals. And you can literally watch it happen in real time. A packed Friday night turns into, hey, why is it so slow tonight? Then it becomes, why has it been slow for 3 weeks? You know, people think restaurants are just food. No, restaurants are like the heartbeat of the economy. When people feel good, restaurants are full. When people are stressed, restaurants feel it immediately. And the scary part, most restaurant owners are trying to smile through it while quietly wondering how they're going to pay everybody next week. You know, restaurant people know exactly what I'm talking about.
I was just speaking with a restaurant owner who said he's going bankrupt because no one's eating out anymore. No one can afford to eat out. Well, that might be true, but the question that I asked him was, how are you differentiating yourself from other restaurants? Yes, there's less people eating out at restaurants, but how are you at the top of the list for them to choose your restaurants? Because if there's less people eating out, don't you have to be more visible? Don't you have to work harder? Don't you have to show them you're the place they should be going to for a nice evening or a fine meal? Yes, we ate out last night and the food was mediocre, right? So am I going to that restaurant again? Probably not. Not when I have so many choices, so many places to eat, so many people that actually want my business. And this place last night, yeah, the service was okay, but it didn't stand out. She didn't spend extra time at our table. Not that there was a lot of other tables. We were maybe 3 or 4 tables, and we had 7 people at our table, and yet the service was not exceptional. There weren't a lot of other tables. There might have been 20 people in the whole freaking restaurant, and yet we didn't get exceptional service, right? We didn't get anything that was memorable. The food was mediocre. The food was kind of cold. The food was okay. So the question that I ask you as restaurant business owners, how are you standing out? How are you creating the need? How are you enticing people to come to your restaurant even though they didn't plan on going out to eat this evening or next week or whenever, right? If you're not using social media to create social proof, to make people salivate at the plates you are serving, if you're not creating an ambiance, if you're not creating a memorable experience, then you get what you deserve. Unfortunately, that's reality, right? We have to fight for our customers. We have to be center of attention. We have to get attention on a daily basis. And if you're not using social media, and if you're really slow, then what are your staff doing? Right? They should be on social media saying, hey, this is what I prepared, or going live on social media and saying, here's my job, here's what I do, this is how we prepare these authentic, exquisite meals for you, right? The next one is going to be for you. If you're not doing that, if you're not using live events, if you're not using social media, for example, on TikTok, I continually see this food truck lady. It's a great personality. She always has 1,000 people on her live. You probably know who I'm talking about, right? So if you're not doing that, and these are the strategies we use to get a restaurant from $500,000 to close to $5 million. As soon as they get over the $5 million threshold, we're going to sell that restaurant. So even though, restaurant business is in the toilet, it's a shitty business, there's still a lot of money to be made when you use the tools. You've got to use social media, branding, differentiation. You've got to create an unfair advantage. And you've got to use every one of your staff, including the janitor, the housekeeper, the ones that clean the restaurant on weekends or evenings when you're not open. Everyone has to be part of your team that creates attention. You agree or disagree with that statement, right? Because if everything falls on your shoulders to get butts in seats in your restaurants, you're you are fighting a losing battle, because your competitors are certainly going to use artificial intelligence, right? They're going to use pay-per-click ads. They're going to use, organic social media, and they're going to attract your customers to their table. It's your choice. You can either choose to go bankrupt in the whimper, or you can fight for every butt in seat and start redesigning your restaurant, redesign your menu, redesign your ambiance, redesign whatever you have control over, because you don't have control over the economy, but you can certainly have the control of how many people you put in your seats. And once you're in your seats, now it's up to you and your staff and your kitchen staff to make sure they come back. Does that make sense? Follow for more. Would love to hear your comments below. And watch the video. I'm about to do an update where a coffee shop spent $6 million to build a coffee shop, couldn't finish, is asking for another million to finish the coffee shop, and will probably go bankrupt before they open, right? So watch the playlist, follow for more. Would love to hear your comments. We are live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Restaurants are closing down everywhere, and it's getting worse. And most of all, owners are starting to feel it. And the reason why they are becoming frightened is because they feel like if the people don't feel good, their restaurants is not doing good. The economy is getting so terrible that people are choosing not to go out to eat anymore. And I know we used to get those feelings, but going out to a restaurant is not the same anymore. People are just changing their minds. People losing interest. And they got other things to worry about than to just go to a restaurant. And half of the time, the prices are getting out of hand everywhere. So, like how he's saying, if the people don't feel good, the restaurants feel it first. A packed Friday night can turn into an empty Friday night. And then, when it's time to pay the employees, he gets nervous. He don't know what to say. He don't know what to tell them because they don't want to hear that, because they still showed up to work even if nobody is there. Can you blame these employees? Because from what I'm hearing is that a lot of employees that work at restaurants, they rely on tips because the pay is not that much in the first place. So, as a restaurant employee, it's going to hurt the most because you don't know if you're going to have a job by the next day or not, because restaurants are closing everywhere around the world. They can't keep up no more. Small private owned businesses are just closing down. They can't keep up with the cost of living. And people are just not going to restaurants no more. I guess they don't have that same experience like they used to have. And that's the terrifying part. I remember when people used to look forward to going to a restaurant, but it's not like that no more. They're not looking forward to anything because they mentally checking out a society, everything. And some people are just stating that their favorite restaurants, it's just not the same no more. The food has changed. The customer service has changed. The people have changed. So that's the last thing on their mind when it comes to living in this economy, is going to a restaurant. They got bills everywhere, and people are not happy because they got bills everywhere. So let me know, how does this affect you? Does it concern you that restaurants are closing down everywhere and your favorite restaurant that you used to go to may not be there anymore? Or it doesn't bother you because you got a lot of things to worry about in your life other than going to your favorite restaurant? Even though you're going to miss it short term, but as time goes on, some people might just get over it. I don't know. Does this really affect your life? Some people act like it will affect their life, but it's starting to hit the owners more and more. And that's the sad part because they can't pay those workers. And then a look on a worker's face when you tell them that you can't pay them, I can't imagine the frustration that's going to occur. And this is just crazy. It's like something different every day. Restaurants shutting down, people quitting everywhere. This economy is just collapsing. It's getting terrible. And that's my take on this situation. Let me know, does this really affect you or you really don't care? Leave it in the comments, and I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Peace.